Dudes and dudettes, how are you guys? This is Chazzy and welcome back to the Mixer, and today I'm going to be talking about something that I have never even come close to even so far as think about mentioning on this channel, guys. The same way that the last video that I did was a gameplay of a game I had never even thought about playing in my life, which is Formula 1. I played F1 2019, you guys can go check that out later after watching this video. And because of that, I wanted the very next vlog to be about the same sport, but something specific. I really want to talk about Ayrton Senna, who is a true Brazilian national hero, A lot of you may not even know Ayrton Senna, he actually is very popular inside of Brazil, of course, obviously, because he was the world champion in Formula 1 3 times, he won 3 championships, and he was also known in other parts of Europe, especially Japan, also, because he had different partnerships and things like that, but I think that his legacy is something that deserves to be said here on this channel, even though I have no idea how Formula 1 even works, but my old man is a really big fan, or actually was a big fan, my dad actually stopped watching Formula 1 after Ayrton Senna tragically died, which happened in 1994. He actually saw it live on TV, it's really haunting. But anyway, because I don't know too much about Formula 1, and Ayrton Senna himself, I have a little cheat sheet here on my tablet, I tried to memorize a few bits of information, but I prefer to do it this way because even though it might seem artificial, me reading from something here in front of me, I just wanted to give you guys the best information that I can about him, so that's why I have it. But anyway, so Senna actually won 3 different Formula 1 World Drivers' Championship, in 1988, in 1990, and 1991, and then he's one of 3 Formula 1 drivers from Brazil, from our country, to win the World Championship, and he actually won. Okay, I'm gonna get into these statistics later, but anyway, he died in 1994, and before I actually get into him, let me give you some of his career statistics, alright? So, like I just said, he won 3 different Formula 1 championships in 88, 90, and 91, and he had a total of 162 entries in the Formula 1 championships with 161 starts out of those 162. He won a total of 41 championships, that's actually, wait, no. He won 41 races, he won 41 Grand Prixes, sorry, and 65 pole positions. I have no idea what the hell that means, but there you go. If you understand about Formula 1, you already know what that means. A total of 80 podiums, also have no idea what it means. And this one is confusing. He has 610 career points, but 614 in parentheses. I don't know what this parentheses is. I have no idea what this means. But anyway, and he registered 19 fastest laps, so I imagine that 19 times he was voted the MVP of the race. He was the one who had the fastest laps, But anyway, his very first entry was in 84, the Brazilian Grand Prix. His first win was in 85 in Portugal. His last win was in 93, the Australian Grand Prix, and his last entry was in the 94 San Marino Prix, which is when he unfortunately died, Now, here's the thing, guys. He actually had quite a few controversies, not too many controversies, but he had a very heated rivalry with that French bastard, the Prost. What was that guy's name? I always forget his name. Something Prost. Alain Prost. No, he had a really big rivalry with him. I saw a documentary with my dad some time ago that actually showed a little bit of this rivalry in action. There was even there was a time. It was actually really cool when Ayrton Senna was trying to win a championship. He was trying to get into a lap and win the Grand Prix. And then even though they were on the same team, this Prost bastard, he actually cut Ayrton off and prevented him from winning. Which really didn't make a lot of sense to me at all. But it's funny because the very following year in another Grand Prix, Ayrton Senna did the same thing to God, stupid freaking camera. Okay, so I kind of readjusted it a little bit, so I hope it's perfectly centralized now. But about Ayrton Senna, this guy was different for a very key reason. There was something that made him unique amongst other drivers. He was not afraid of the weather. He was not afraid of anything, like rain or shine. This guy would be going the same speed every single time, He was actually known for taking risks when it was wet weather, So if it started to rain, and the tracks were wet, normally as a Formula 1 driver, you would try to go a little little bit slower, you know, still going fast as hell, but a little slower because, I mean, you can slip and your car can derail and crash, you know. So now it makes sense for you to try to go a little bit slower, you know, that's just the way that it is. But Ayrton Senna was different because while others were going slower, he was going faster. That's exactly what you just heard. So when the track was wet because of rain, that's when he would go the fastest. He wasn't afraid of it, you know, because he had such amazing control of the car that he could blaze right through the track, whether it was perfectly dry or wet, you know. So like when it comes, even if it was snow, sleet, there was nothing that this guy wouldn't plow right through, you know. And that obviously made him try to almost be like an evil Knievel daredevil kind of thing, you know. No matter what the weather was, Senna was there to just pound right through, you know. And it was really nice because he was actually a very interesting figure here in Brazil, because he dated a few celebrities like Xuxa, for example, who was a prominent figure back in the late 80s and early 90s. She was actually a part of my childhood as well. And then he dated another attractive woman whose name I forgot. But the point is that Senna was a very beloved public figure, you know, because he was, I believe, the first Brazilian ever to achieve such a level in the Formula One sport. You know, I don't think anybody before him had ever even come close. So that's what made him stand out, you know. And he obviously made a lot of money with his sponsorship deals, you know, here and there, you know, with McLaren, Ferrari, a lot of other brands. And he would donate a lot of that money. I think that while he was still alive, he started an institution, you know. I know that there was one that happened after he died, which is still active today. It is run by Alain Prost, that bastard French dude. I will never stop calling that guy a bastard. I hate him so much. But anyway, so then he actually still runs this today, which is an organization that raises money for impoverished areas of Brazil, you know. Something that I'm sure Senna was still involved in when he was alive. He was a very philanthropic figure outside of the sport, you know. So it was really impossible for you to not like this guy, you know. Like my own father said, you know, that while he was alive, like pretty much everybody loved Ayrton Senna, you know. It was impossible for you to not like this guy. And even though I'm not a fan of Formula One or racing in general, like NASCAR, things like that, you know, it was still nice to watch this documentary and seeing just how fast Senna could go. You could have the camera kind of like at a dash cam, you know, which would capture the movements, you know, and it was really fast, guys, you know. Like you only have, it might not seem very fast when you're watching it live, but when you have the camera there inside the cockpit, you get an idea of how blazingly quick these guys are driving, you know. It's really scary. I'm afraid of driving regularly. Imagine something related to Formula One, man.
All you can do is to try to limit those risks that you are exposed to, but it's part of it. It's there, and since I'm doing it, I know I have to face it.
Now let's get into the sad part, okay? As I already said before, and in case you guys don't know, Senna died in 1994, 2 years after I was born. And now here's the thing about that crash. Right before that happened, it was actually not the rare, it wasn't the most common thing in the world, but also not the rarest thing. It did happen that Formula One drivers would die after succumbing to fatal injuries when they crashed, you know? And Senna actually witnessed that happening, and because one specific driver was killed in an accident, he was actually feeling a little afraid of driving after that, you know. I think there was even a time when he almost considered you know, retiring before the 94 Grand Prix, you know. So he was considering not even racing because of that. It's like, okay, this might be a bad omen, you know. I forgot what the guy was, what nationality he was in, but Senna decided to race, and he took in his car a flag to represent as like an homage, a tribute to the driver who died, you know. Now there were a few things that were wrong with the car, apparently, you know, because back in the day, Senna would have to manually control the car in some of the races, you know, because I don't know, the shift was off or something. There was something a little off, so he had to actually manually control, so his arms would be completely locked, you know. It was really painful. He had to have a lot of upper body strength, and especially in his arms. But then there was something different about the car. They changed it up, you know, and I think he actually complained about it, you know, but then he decided to press on anyway. But there was something different about the car that made it at a certain key point, as he was trying to make a turn, lock the steering wheel, so it literally would not turn. And in that fraction of a second, you know, that was already enough to send him spiraling straight into a wall head first, you know. Now it was a very fatal crash, you know. There was no visible blood or anywhere, not that you can see in the footage, but it's hard, guys. it's a little hard to stomach, you know, because at that moment, you know, and just the accident itself, the narration, like seeing it from the regular camera on the track, seeing the car come in and smack the wall is already like hard enough to swallow, you know, but it's even harder when you see it from the dash cam. Because this, the documentary that I watched with my dad showed exactly that. Like it showed it interlaced, right, with the footage from his dash cam, and it was recording just a second before he hit the wall. So you saw the wall approaching. Then it cuts to the accident that we saw live on TV back in '94, you know, and that compilation, that moment there, compiled with the narration of Galvão Bueno saying that Senna really smacked the wall hard, it's really haunting. It's really haunting, and I'm about to show it here to you guys, if I can get the clip from YouTube.
Well, we are right with Michael Schumacher now, and Senna! My goodness! I just saw him plunge off to the right, and Senna has joined Pedro Lamy and JJ Letter in a shattered motor car. You can see the debris on the right. What on earth happened?
It was a moment that the whole country probably fell silent. You know, I think the whole country just, it was hard, man. It was hard. I don't think anybody, like my dad, for example, he stopped watching Formula One after that because there was nobody who even matched Senna's level, you know. A few more tidbits of info about that. And here's the thing, when he hit the wall, there were a lot of paramedics coming to rescue him, you know, but there's actually a moment, if you look closely, you can actually see his head tilting to the side, like it was doing this. And that was the precise moment that I think he died. You know, he was probably still alive. A metal bar went right through his forehead, man. You know, it went through the helmet, through his forehead, his skull, and came out the other side. So you don't survive something like that. But I think he was still alive for just a few seconds there, still conscious, and then boom, he was gone, just like that, you know. And fortunately, you don't see any graphic imagery. You don't see the rod going through him. You don't see any blood, you know, but people describe the scene as having a lot of blood on, so I'm getting sick just thinking about this. Stop moving the damn camera, jeez. But yeah, guys, you see, I get disoriented just talking about this. And obviously there were a lot of tributes to him in the coming weeks and months, you know, and his hometown of São Paulo, you know, there were statues erected to him, there were highways named after him, you know, and it was a really sad moment, you know, in our country. And even though I'm not a fan, after watching this documentary with my dad, I really began to appreciate Ayrton Senna more, and that's why I recorded a gameplay of Formula One on my channel. You know, even though I'm not a fan, it's not going to be a regular thing. I'm probably never going to do it again, but I just wanted to get just one little piece of content out there for Senna, you know, as a tribute. And I would read more stuff about him, but it's going to take too long, you know. I think it's just I don't know, there's a lot of stuff, you know. After that, though, after his death, because he was such a prominent figure in Formula One, there were a lot of safety precautions made around the sport to make it much safer. And ever since Ayrton Senna died, there has not been one single death in Formula One. So unfortunately, the greatest had to die for that to happen, you know. A few of the implements included improved crash barriers, redesigned tracks, higher crash safety standards, such as larger sills along the driver cockpit, and major cuts to engine power, you know. And corners of the circuits were also altered, you know. So there were a lot of things that happened. There were a lot of things that I'm going to put my tablet over here. I think I'm going to need it anymore. So there were a lot of things that happened, you know, a lot of implementations to try to make the sport a little safer. And thank God it worked, you know. Nobody else has died since then. I just wish they had thought of this before, you know. Probably when the fellow before Senna died. But anyway, guys, I just wanted to give you a little backstory about who I consider to be one of the best national heroes here in my country, you know, who will definitely go down in history as one of the best people ever to emerge from this country, you know. And to this day, the institution in his name continues to thrive and help out people in impoverished communities here in this country, which is what I hope to do with my YouTube channel one day, you know. So, yeah. Rest in peace, man. Rest in peace. My heart goes out to his family members to this day. But that's it, guys. If you happen to enjoy this video, if you like Formula One, don't expect anything else in the future, because I'm not gonna be doing anything else. You know, I'm just not a fan at all. You know, just wanted to get this one video out here to talk about this guy, get into a little different sport. But if you like my channel in general, I do a lot of different videos, different kinds of content. So subscribe to my channel right now as you're watching the video. Just go down and hit that subscribe button, and also hit the notification button to know exactly when I'm gonna be uploading videos, because I upload 1 video per day, sometimes 2 videos per day, and over the weekend it's 4. So you know, I give you guys a lot of content every single day for you to enjoy. So that's it. This is Chazzy signing out for now, and as always, I will see you guys in the next video.